Hi, this is Holly Conley, and I'm going to talk about the Week 6 formative assessment. The first thing is to describe the formative assessment in its initial stage. For mine, the issue was that I did not have a formative assessment in the places that I felt that I really needed them. There were other types of formative assessments that do test students' knowledge, but it wasn't really what I really needed to do. So the issue was more that it was missing. The next step is to explain why the formative assessment needs to be revised. Well, one of the issues I was coming up with is when we got to the exam for chapters 1 through 4 in Accounting 1, we were doing a review and I realized there were concepts and objectives from chapters 1 and 2 that students were still struggling with. And typically by that point, they've mastered those concepts. So I wanted to, instead of waiting until the review before the exam, I wanted to create a formative assessment that allows me to see after each chapter where students are. So I'm going to explain how I'm going to revise the formative assessment. And for this one, what I would like to do is create a Kahoot that we will go over together in class that illustrates their understanding of chapter 1, and then again for chapters 2 and 3, and then we would do a review for chapters 1 through 4 at the end. But let's focus on just chapter 1. So there are basic concepts and terminology that I need them to understand. So by creating those points in Kahoot and allowing them to test their knowledge, I can not only see where they stand, but they feel more confident answering in Kahoot because it's more anonymous and they're not ashamed of getting the answer wrong. And it also allows me to see in detail who is doing well and who is not by running the report when it's finished. So that's one of the things that I'd like to do, is to create the Kahoot for each chapter so I can see how students are doing on each of the objectives before we get to that next chapter. So discuss why I made the specific changes to the formative assessment. For this class, we have chapters that build from one chapter to another. So for chapters 1 through 5, if you don't get chapters 1 and 2, you can't do 3, 4, and 5. Or if you do, it would be a very real struggle to complete it successfully. So I think that by testing their knowledge in a Kahoot environment will allow them to participate, engage in the activity, and also will allow me to see how they're doing with that chapter. So I know that if we need to incorporate other assignments or other discussions to get them to where they need to be. I think that having the Kahoots will allow me to have feedback sooner and know whether we should be moving on to the next topic or if we need to wait a little bit further. Thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions.